Okay, good night, good evening, guys. Inshallah, today will be the final day of our boot camp. Okay, so we've worked really hard. And just to remind you, in the first day, we studied all the theoretical stuff, and then we downloaded Godot. Yesterday, in the second day, we coded half of the game. Okay. And just in case you missed it, it's recorded, okay? The lecture should be somewhere in the chat, but we're going to send you the links, so don't worry. So, today, inshallah, we're going to continue, okay? We're going to continue our game. Right now, I just want to make sure you guys can see the screen, right? Because I'm sharing my screen. I just want to confirm. Okay, great. So, I'm gonna assume that you guys worked with me yesterday, okay, on our project. So today we're gonna continue. So just go to Godot, okay? And yeah, like I said, there's gonna be two versions. We're just gonna do this one. So yeah, just open up Godot, okay? I want you all to work with me like yesterday. I think we did really good yesterday. And now we're just gonna go to our project, okay? I just named it Bootcamp Game. Okay, so just to summarize, sorry, I mean to revise, what we did yesterday. We coded the main scene, okay, for the game, and we added a background, and we created a scene for the player, and we imported all the animations for the player, and we programmed the player to walk, and also to play the correct animation and have it be flipped, and also we programmed the player so that it cannot really exit the screen, okay? We clamped it. So this is really good progress, I think, but the other main component of our game is the enemies. Okay, so that's really essential. So today, inshallah, we're going to work on the enemies and we will be done with the game. Okay, so right now, I want to make sure that everyone has Godot opened. Okay, and next, we're going to create a new scene. So we're going to go to this icon to add a new scene. Okay. And we are going to create the scene of the enemy. So if you remember in our assets, we have those sprites for the enemies. We're going to choose one of them, okay, to make our enemy. And if we have time, okay, if we can finish fast enough, I'll teach you guys how you can actually make the sprites random. So there could be enemy types, with different speeds. So we're going to try to finish fast. So okay, if you remember, the route for our yes, if anyone has a question or anything, please type it on the chat, okay? I can read everything you're typing because I have an iPad. So basically, if you guys remember, the root of the player scene was this node, the area 2D. And like we said, this node is really good for when you want to do simple collisions, like players, enemies, just really simple and easy stuff. So we're actually going to make a very similar setup when it comes to the enemy scene. So first of all, yeah, another area 2D, exactly. So I'm going to choose other nodes. Of course, after I created the new scene, right now it's empty. So the first node, the root node, is going to be in area 2D. So like we said, just type area 2D and you will immediately find it, the one and only. Okay. So when I double clicked it, notice that it appeared, right? And also notice that we have an error. Um, Basically, the reason why we're getting an error is because, like yesterday, we have yet to define a hitbox or a collision shape, as Godot calls it. So don't worry, we're going to do that. Okay. So yeah, we created the root node. So we're going to rename it from area 2D. We're going to double click it. We're going to rename it to enemy. okay? And I'm gonna press enter, okay? And now, like I said, it's gonna be very similar to the player. Um, if you remember, the player had an animated sprite 2D, right? Well, so will the enemy to play its animations, right? So I'm gonna choose the root node and add a child to it. I'm going to delete this. The child is going to be an animated sprite 2D. You can find it here. It's under Node 2D. Here it is. Animated sprite 2D. Okay, so we're going to click on create or double click it. And here it is. We just created it. And again, we can see a warning that we have to basically set the sprite frames resource. Okay, so make sure that you select the animated sprite 2D, not the root node here, and go to the inspector on the right. Notice that we don't really have any sprite frames. Okay, yeah, we have to create sprite frames. So we'll click on empty and we'll click on sprite frames, and this will basically create some new sprite frames, so we can store our animations. So just click on it again and notice that the on the bottom, like yesterday, we have the sprite frames sort of window, the pop-up. So basically, we have the default animation, and if you remember yesterday with the player, we had two animations, up and walk. So basically, I'm not actually going to make more than one animation for now. So I'm just going to make the one animation, okay? So I don't have to rename it. I'll just keep it as is. And I'm just going to drop the first sprite, okay? And here it is. We can already see that it's loaded. And I'm going to drop the second sprite now. And I want to test it out. I'm just going to set it to play. And bam, it worked, okay? And I'm gonna do something new here, okay? Something we did not do with the player. If you see this little button here, it's called autoplay on load. So basically what this does is that it makes sure that this animation will play right when the scene is created. So we don't have to manually play it. You can notice the little icon, because if you remember yesterday, when we created the player scene, the animations don't play on their own. We have to play them manually, We have to like call these functions, play, and specify the animation. But with this one, since we just have the one animation and we always want to, have it playing at the start, then simply we're just going to choose this button, autoplay on load, and it's just going to play from the start. Okay, Salahuddin, why I can't play or test? Um, well, you'll have to show me a screenshot or something, okay? So, this is really nice. For now, I'm gonna pause the animation just so we can do the hitbox. It's gonna be easier to configure our hitbox if our enemy isn't moving. So we're gonna focus a bit on our enemy. Okay, so I'm gonna choose now. I want to fix this warning, okay? It's complaining about the lack of a collision shape. So please make sure that you choose the area 2D node, okay? And then you add a child to it. And please make sure you don't accidentally choose the sprite and add the collision shape to it, okay? You're gonna get a new error. So you have to basically add it to this node, okay? So make sure you have this one selected and click on the add child node. And like yesterday, we're just going to look for collision, okay? And we're going to see we have the collision shape 2D, okay? So now we're going to create, and yeah, so now this warning is gone, and we created the collision shape. I'm going to rename it to hitbox, just for clarities, okay? And notice we have a new warning, which is that we are still yet to configure the shape, basically. Okay, so Um, I'm gonna, first of all, select the hitbox, okay? Make sure you select this node. And when you go to the right, you'll notice that we are yet to configure a shape. So basically, I'm gonna click on the empty, and I think I'm gonna make a capsule shape. Okay, I can make the hitbox be a circle or a rectangle, or any of these other shapes, but I think it would be much more fitting if it was basically a capsule, okay? And notice right when I created this shape, it appeared right here. So now we're gonna zoom in. Okay, we're gonna click on this button to center the view. And yeah, now we can configure the hitbox. So you can just modify it. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact, of course, so don't worry about that. Um, yeah, don't worry about it. It just needs to be kind of estimated, okay? I think this is a good estimation. Can I rotate it? Yeah, you can rotate whatever you want here from the transform property, but it's a circle, so you kind of don't need to do that. But yeah, you can. I see what you mean. I think you mean like this, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Um, okay, um, so right now we just created the hitbox, so we don't have any more warnings, okay? So I'm gonna hide the hitbox just so I can take a look at my player, okay? My enemy, sorry. I can toggle it, visible or invisible anytime. Okay. So, right now, initially, I'm gonna go to the animated sprite 2D, and I want the sprite, okay, to be rotated down. Okay, so why do I want it to be facing down? Because you're gonna see how I'm gonna move the enemy, sorry, okay? It's gonna be different from the player. So I'm gonna go select the animated sprite 2D and go to its transform property and notice that here I can rotate it, you know, in whatever degree I want. So basically I'm just gonna set it to 90 degrees. Okay, so now it's facing downwards. It's facing down. Okay. So yeah, I just really need you to do this. Please don't make the mistake of rotating the entire scene. No, I just want you to rotate the animated sprite 2D node. Okay, and that's it. Um, okay. So, um, this is pretty much it. Yeah. Okay, we finished making the scene tree and we configured all the important data. So now I'm gonna save this scene. I'm gonna go to scene. I'm gonna go to save scene, okay? And notice that, like we pointed out yesterday, that the name of the file by default is the name of the root node, okay? So the name of the scene. So I'm just gonna save it, and yeah. Okay, now we're gonna take a bit of a breather. Has anyone had any trouble implementing the enemy so far? Okay. If anyone has any trouble, please just tell us on the chat and we'll help you figure everything out. Okay, I'm glad you guys are doing good. Okay, amazing. Yeah, again, I just want to point out, please make sure you do not rotate the nodes, just rotate the sprites, okay? This is really important because you'll see how we're gonna do something really interesting, okay? Okay, so now as a test, I'm gonna go back to the game scene, okay, this one. And if it happens that the scene of the game for you is closed, like for example, like this. So look, all the scenes are closed. How do you open it? Basically, you go down to the file system. I'm gonna close what's it called? I'm gonna close this asset and notice the scene of the game is here. I can just double click it and here it is, okay? also the scene of the player, and the scene of the enemy. Okay, so yeah, it's all there, you know? So, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go back to the game scene, the one where we had the player, because we made the player scene and we put it inside the game scene. So, now, just for testing purposes, I'm gonna manually put one enemy into our game. Okay, so I'm gonna choose the game scene and I'm gonna add a child to it, but it's not gonna be a node, it's gonna be a scene. Okay, and like we discussed yesterday, scenes and nodes are basically they're almost the same thing because a scene is just a collection of nodes. So therefore, we can just treat a scene just like it's, one or more nodes. So we're gonna choose the game, and we're gonna add a scene as a child. Okay. And notice we immediately get this window that contains the player scene, the game scene, and the enemy scene. So these are all the scenes in our game. And I'm going to choose the enemy scene, okay? So click on it. And notice immediately how yeah, he's huge. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I'm going to choose the enemy and then move it like this. Notice how, in comparison to the player, he's really big. So what I'm going to do is right now I'm gonna go back to the enemy scene and just go back to the sprite, okay? And I'm gonna scale it down, okay? Exactly, حجم السبرايت, very good. So I'm gonna go to the transform property, and you see the scale. By default, it's 1, okay? So it's the same size as the asset. So it just so happened that our assets are designed for a bigger screen, okay? So, but because our screen is kind of small, they look big. So we're just going to go to the scale and click on any of them, X for example. And instead of it being 1, I'm going to set it to 0.5. And notice that it immediately shrunk. Okay, now it's half of its size. And because we basically shrunk the sprites, also we're going to have to shrink the, what's it called? The hitbox. So I'm going to choose the hitbox and basically shrink it also. Okay. I think this is enough. So now I'm going to save the scene because notice I made some changes. So save scene. And if I go back to the game scene, notice that this enemy right here immediately changed. Why? Because, well, this is kind of the template, the template for every enemy. And so every time you create a clone of an enemy, it's gonna go back and look at that original one. I'm just gonna hide the hitbox. So yeah, as you can see here, and save it. Yeah, so as you can see here, now it's kind of a normal size. Okay, so did anyone have any trouble with resizing the enemy? Let me see. Is disappearing behind the background? Okay, very good. This is a very good very good question, Osama. The reason why it's disappearing behind the background is because in Godot, the order of the sibling nodes. So these nodes are siblings, okay? اخوان دول اخوان لانهم على نفس المستوى عندهم نفس الاب مباشرة. عندهم نفس الاب. So because they're siblings with the same parent, the ones that are, up are gonna get drawn below, and the other way around, the ones that are kind of down are kind of gonna get drawn above. So notice for me, because my background is up here and the enemy and the player are below it, notice how they are above the background. But let me swap it. Let me make it so that the background is basically below them. Notice they disappeared because they're hidden. Look, they're actually hidden behind the background. See? Why? Because the order of the nodes is kind of important here. The background should be above them. Okay, they're all siblings. Okay, there's no parent relationship here. يعني هم كلهم اخوان بس ان ترتيب الاخوة تقدر تقول هذا الاخ الكبير. You know? So this is a very good question, Osama. Thank you for pointing out this issue. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Lily. guys, why is everything inverted in the engine? You're most likely using the Arabic engine, I think, the Arabic version. Sarah asked, like layers? Exactly. They're uh oh, you mean why is everything inverted? Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, yes, Sarah. They're like yeah, the opposite of art layers, where I guess you could no, you could interpret this as below, and when we go, down, we're kind of going above it. So this is down, and when we go down the tree, we're kind of climbing up. We're climbing up the tree, basically. Okay, so that's just yeah, it's like the opposite of Photoshop, you know? So this is really good. Yeah, in game engines, a lot of stuff is kind of unfamiliar, but this is really interesting. So I'm gonna try running the game now as a task. Okay. And notice that here it is. Our enemy is currently here, but he cannot do anything right now. He displays the animation because remember, I set the animation to autoplay. Okay. So right now he cannot really do anything. Yeah, he's so cute, but well, he can't really do anything because we didn't program him yet. So what I want to do with the enemy is that I want the enemy to basically move based on its rotation. So for example, if the enemy is rotated like this, I want it to move down. But for example, let me rotate the enemy like this. If I have an enemy like this, for example, I want it to move like this, okay? Like this, see? I want it to move where its head is facing. Yeah, that makes sense, right? And for example, if it's facing upwards, I actually want it to face upwards, okay? Like actually move upwards. So, as you can see, it's a bit more complex than the player. With the player, we kind of hard-coded it so that when the player presses the right key, the player just moves to the global direction of right. It completely ignores rotation. Okay, the player has nothing to do with rotation. But with my enemy, I want it to be more dynamic so that depending on its local rotation, okay, not its global the local, depending on it, I want it to go to the local direction of down. So if it's facing this way, I want it to go to that local direction. I know it's a bit complex, but we're gonna see how Godot makes this very easy. So basically, now we're kind of making the distinction between the global sort of rotation and the sort of, or I guess you could say the global direction and the local direction. So with the player is relying on the global directions. When you go right, you just go right, okay? You go east, you increase the x-axis. But with the enemy, it's kind of more local, okay? He kind of has this inverted XY axis, so it's gonna be more tricky. So I'm just gonna reset the rotation now, okay? Um, and looks like some guys are having problems. The enemy isn't showing up when I run the game. You have to save, okay? I think you forgot to save the game scene, okay? You can click Control S or, just save the scene, I think. Yeah, you have to save the scene. Save all the scenes, by the way. Save all scenes, just in case maybe you forgot to change something. And it should work. Yeah, you should just save it. So, as you can see, we're going to have to program this, of course. So we're going to go back to the scene of the enemy. And basically, yeah, it's working. Choose the node of the enemy. Okay, this is really important. Make sure you don't attach the script to any of these guys. No, we want it to be for the area 2D, the root node. So, please, yeah, after each step, you should save, okay? So just make sure you attach a script here, okay, to this node, okay, not to its children. And we're just gonna keep everything, as a default, okay? And we're gonna create this new script. And voila, we created a new script, okay? I'm gonna zoom in real quick so you guys can see what I'm doing. The first thing I'm gonna do is if you remember in the player scene, in the player code yesterday, we created a variable for the speed, okay? So we're gonna do that also today for the enemy. It's good practice to create variables, okay, for your data. So I'm gonna create a variable. The way we create variables is, like we said, through the var keyword. So var is short for variable. After you type the word var, now we have, like the engine is saying, we have to add the name of the variable. Built-in script on, no, keep it off. Okay, just keep everything as default, please. So now we're gonna put the name of this variable. So we're gonna call it speed. Sorry, let me choose this, speed. And now we're gonna have to, we don't have to, but I prefer it, specify the data type of this variable. So we're gonna add the colon and then type int, okay? Because you see, in programming, we really didn't discuss this very deeply, but the concept of data types is really important to understand with how, for example, the speed is an integer. It's a whole number, basically. Yeah, exactly. But if you remember, this variable was basically an animated sprite node. For example, the delta was a float. Float means it's actually a real number, so with decimals. If you remember, this is actually a string. So, and this is a Boolean, true and false. We refer to these as Booleans. Okay, what's the default data type in Godot? Is it important to specify every time we make a variable? Um, the default data type, well, there's no default data type, okay? By default, if you don't specify, it's going to be null unless you assign it. Well, if you don't specify the type, then it's basically dynamically typed, as in the type can change. So it's better to specify it as an integer, okay? For example, and you can right now set the enemy speed to, for example, 300. So that's double the speed of player. Or for now, I'll set it to 200 just so it doesn't go too fast. So is any type be default? So it's an any type by default. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Yeah, it's an any type. Really good. Yes, exactly, Yusuf. Exactly. Very good. Um, so if you remember yesterday, we ran pretty much all of our code in the process function, okay? Like we discussed, the process function gets called every frame by the engine, okay? So basically, it's going to get called 60 times per second. So anything relating to movement or input or animations, you basically put it in here. So we're going to go back to the enemy script and we're going to define the process function and for the enemy, okay? So this is the process function for the player, and now the enemy is going to have its own process function. So like we said, how we define a function is using the func keyword. Func is short for function. And now the engine is going to complain. It's going to say that we need to put the name of the function after the func keyword. So of course it's called process. Here it is. And yeah, like we discussed, the process function as input takes in a real number. Okay, it's called delta, and it does not return any output. So like we said, delta is really important. So we can have your game basically run like with the same speed on all different computers, regardless of the strength of the computer, okay? So yeah, now we're gonna press enter to go down one line. And of course, remember, we have the indentation here, the space, the tab. This is essential, so we can tell Godot, hey Godot, by the way, the code I'm writing right now, it's gonna be called every frame because it's inside the process function. How do you know what's inside the process function? Based on the indentation. Okay, indentation is really important. Please don't forget. So basically now, I want every frame, I want to sort of change the position of the enemy, right? Notice I have the enemy. Like we said, I want the enemy to move based on its rotation. So I'm going to increase the position by the local rotation, okay? The sort of local direction of forward or down, okay? So how do I get the local, kind of direction instead of the global direction? I use the transform, okay? The transform of a node gives me the local direction, okay? So I'm gonna choose transform.y, and basically that's it. So what I'm saying now is that every frame, um, we're gonna go to the local direction of down, okay? So if the enemy is like this, for example, the local direction of down is gonna be like this. He is going to move like this, Because remember, initially I had him facing down, if you remember. If we reset it, he was facing down. This is his local direction of down. So when I rotate it, this local direction, it doesn't change. Okay, so he's always going to go like this. So he's going to move based on how he's rotated, basically. I know it's a bit overwhelming to wrap your head around it, but you're going to get used to it, okay? Rotation is a bit tricky, I'm going to be honest. Um, so who rotates, bro? Don't worry, we're going to rotate it. Is the enemy's rotation not set to 90? Well, notice, the enemy's rotation is 0. We did not change it. Instead, I changed the rotation of the sprite. Okay, so this is very important. Make sure you don't rotate the enemy because it's gonna mess up our code. No, you only rotate the sprite. The game will rotate to look at the player. Yeah, we're kind of gonna do that. Yeah, kind of. So, okay, I just want to make sure that everyone managed to do this. Okay, please make sure. I want you to make sure the rotation for the enemy is 0, but the rotation of the sprite is 90. Okay, please make sure you did this part. Okay, so yeah, please double check because, yeah, sometimes we kind of rotate the wrong thing. So this is extremely important. I've set it to 90, but mine's facing upward. I think maybe you rotated both of them, like this maybe. No, maybe you set it to -90 because if it's -90, he will face upward. I think you set it to -90. So make sure you set it to +90. Do you think damage should be added? This game is really simple, so there's no damage. The player just dies when when it collides. It's +90, but it's actually rotated. That's weird. Can you show me the Humaira, can you show me the rotation of both the enemy and the sprite so I can make sure it's correct? Okay. Yeah, it's a really simple game. We're not going to code health and stuff like that. It's kind of an insta-death type of thing. Okay. So, yeah, right now, if you remember, yeah, we coded it so that it moves in the local direction of downwards. And of course, don't forget to multiply by the speed and multiply by delta. Very important. Okay. And this is pretty much all the code we're going to write for the enemy. The rest of the code is going to be in the player. أشبه بماريو مكان معين عشان تقتله. لا ما حنقتله. No, لعبة بسيطة مرة. So right now, notice we're going to go back to the game scene and we're going to check. Is the enemy indeed going to move down? Let's check, guys. And there he is. He's moving down. Let's go. It worked. But notice, what if I rotate him like this? Look. I'm going to rotate him like this. And then when I run the game, notice, now he goes to that direction. So he moves, you know, depending on his, rotation, basically. So whatever you rotate him, let's say I have him like this, and I rotate him like this, for example. He's just gonna move like that. Stop leaving us enemy. Okay, Hamir, thank you. Okay. Um, okay, that's really strange. I'm kind of confused why it looks like he's facing up for you. This is really strange. That's really strange. I'm not sure because at one point it did face down. Save the scene. Maybe in the game scene he's appearing to be facing. So make sure you save all your scenes. Maybe she rotated it the way you just did. No, no. The way I'm just doing actually just rotates the. You guys see me rotating it like this. I know it's basically just rotating, like this. It's the same way, but it's with the button, but it's the same thing, you know. Yeah. No, no, in the enemy scene. So in the enemy scene, it seems to be facing upward for you. I'm really not sure why. I'm really not sure. That's really strange, honestly. Okay, so maybe because the scale is negative. No, no, it has nothing to do with the scale. Wait, yes, yes. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amal. Yes, Amira, the scale should be positive half, positive 0.5, not negative. Thank you so much, Amal, for catching this bug. Yes, Humira. The scale, I said, the scale of the sprite should be negative, positive. Very, very smart of you, very observant. Okay, very nice. Yes, the scale, if you kind of negate the scale, it actually flips it like this. This is what happened to Humaira. She made it sort of she made it negative. Yeah, the code, here it is. Okay. Um, yeah. It goes to the opposite way. Um, so please make sure for Dana, it's going the opposite way. Make sure you write this code correctly. Are you increasing the position based on the transform.y? Okay. It has to be this exact code. Okay, and if this exact code isn't working, then make sure you got the rotation thing right. Like we said, the rotation should be 0, but here it should be 90, and the scale should be positive. Yeah, make sure you all got the code right. Okay. Um, okay. So, yeah, right now well, we made one enemy, but we're gonna delete it. We really don't want to spawn enemies like this, okay? We're gonna spawn them based on a timer. So for example, every 1 second, for example, or every 2 seconds, we're gonna spawn an enemy. So now, um, we're gonna introduce ourselves to a new node called the timer node. And it's probably the easiest node in all of Godot. So we're gonna choose the game, okay? And as a child of the game, okay, we're gonna add a node, okay? Specifically the timer node. So you just go down here and notice at the very end we have a node called timer. So just select it and we just added it to our tree, okay? Make sure it's a direct child of game, okay? Because that's gonna mess stuff up. So basically, I'm gonna rename it from timer to spawn timer, okay? Spawn timer, okay? Because it's gonna spawn the enemies, and I'm gonna click on enter, okay? So, um, okay, and now when we select the timer and we go to the right, we can see that we have some information here. First of all, the wait time. Basically, it's saying like how long is this timer going to be going for in seconds before it like sort of times out, okay, before it finishes. So for now, we're going to set it to half a second, okay, 0.5 seconds, just so we can test really quickly. Okay. And next we have something called one shot. So basically, as the description implies, Um, when the node finishes, if one shot is on, the timer is not gonna start on its own, okay? We have to start it manually. But if one shot is actually off, like it is here by default, then basically it's just gonna keep going and going. It's gonna keep resetting and timing out every time we finish. So yeah, that's really good. We're gonna keep it like this. But meanwhile, we have something else. It's called auto start. And as the name implies, the timer is gonna basically auto start if it's on. So yeah, we're gonna keep it on. Hello, Muhammad. I'm glad you managed to enter today. So as you can see, this is our setup. The timer at the very start of the game is gonna auto start, and every time it ends, it's gonna keep going, over and over again, because we're gonna keep spawning enemies. So one shot is gonna be off. I know these two are confusing. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Even to this very day, I'm still confused about kind of getting them mixed up because they're kind of the opposite of each other. So I think this is really annoying, but just know that it has to be like this. And the wait time for now, we're gonna set it to 0.5. Okay, so we created our timer, but we still haven't configured it because before we configure it, we basically have to add a third script to our game, a script for the game, okay? So the game itself, the game scene is gonna have a script. And what's it called? It's gonna be spawning the enemies, basically, okay? So we have the enemy scene and the player scene, and the game scene is gonna be in control of spawning the enemies. So we're gonna select the game node, and I'm gonna click on this icon in order to attach a new script, okay? Just keep everything as is, okay? Do not change anything. And we're just going to select on create. And notice we already have some code, but we're going to just delete it because we don't need it, okay? So, okay, nice. So now we have created a script and we basically attached it to our game. So now, because there is a script in our game, now we're gonna learn about signals. Okay, we're gonna learn about something called signals. Yeah, we learned about them, remember, in day one, where we said that nodes can communicate with each other using signals. So right now, I have a bit of a problem. I have the parent node here of the game, and I have the child node. The spawn timer is the child. So here I have a child that basically needs to communicate with his parent. So if you remember before, we kind of had uh, the animations in a child and we played them using the parent. So here it was easy because we could directly control our children and access our children in a very easy way, right? So parents can access their children, but the other way is not true. Children cannot directly access their parents. Instead, they send them signals. So it's kind of like real life where the parents control their children and the children can only communicate kind of through signals. So they're weaker, okay? The control over the parent is weaker. So basically, every time this timer finishes, I want to emit a signal to my parent and I want to tell my parent, hey, I want you to spawn an enemy, okay? You know? So I really hope that was clear. So now I'm going to select the timer and in the inspector, notice that I have a bunch of other tabs like history and node. So in node, I can see the signals. Okay, the timer has only one very important signal. It's called timeout. And notice, it gets emitted when the timer reaches the end, basically. So every time our timer reaches the end of its 0.5 cycle, so every 0.5 seconds, it's going to emit a signal. And everyone listening, everyone connected will be able to react to this signal. So I'm going to go back to nodes and I'm going to select the timeout signal, double click it. And now it's saying, hey, you're going to collect the signal, connected, right? But where do you want to connect it? We're connecting from the timer, but to where? To the player? To the background? No. We're connecting it to the game. Okay? So now we're going to choose the game and double click it. And bam, notice. Notice what happened. Notice that it immediately created a new function inside the script of the game. And the name of this function is on spawn timer timeout. And this function takes no arguments and also gives no output. It's just code, okay? It executes some sort of action. And notice that this function is special because on the left of it, we have this green symbol. The green symbol means that this function is actually connected to a signal. Okay, so if you click on it, you can even see the sort of source of the signal. So the signal is coming from the timer, this timer, and the name of the signal is the timeout signal. And the target, the sort of connection, the listener, is the game node, okay? So I know this is a bit overwhelming, but right now, let's test it. Every time the timer goes on, we're going to print enemy spawned, okay? Enemy spawned as a test. So I'm going to try running the game, and we're going to see. And notice every half second, the signal will be emitted. And this function will be called, so it will print enemy spawns. And yeah, let's see. Renad, what was the last thing I did? That pop-up window, the small one. It's not important. Basically, I'm just showing you that basically if you have a function and you have this little green icon, it basically means that this function is connected to a signal. So if you click on it, you can just view the source, okay? I did not change anything. I am simply looking at like the receiver and the sender of the signal. Did you delete the pass line? Yes. So basically, pass is a placeholder. Okay. If you don't know what you want to put yet, you put pass. What does pass mean? Well, it means that you still haven't put anything. It's a placeholder, literally. يعني مؤقتا بس. مبدئيا بتحط كلمة pass قبل ما تعبي الفانكشن. Okay. So yeah. I need to make sure now that everyone managed to do this, okay? Everyone managed to first of all create the spawn timer, and everyone managed to configure it correctly, and everyone managed to add a script and then connect the signal of the spawn timer, connect it to the parent, and basically print. So please, everyone make sure you did this, okay? I really need to make sure everyone did this step. It's extremely crucial because without it, the game just won't work. So make sure that it actually prints it every like half second, because here we wrote half second. Okay, very good Lily, very good Rima. ايوه سلطان صحيح عشان ما يصير خطأ. Okay. If anyone's having any issues, we can debug it together. The most important thing is that we can all have a working code. No, I think you did it right. It didn't print. Okay. Why didn't it print? Interesting. Show me the configuration, Sarah. Show me the configuration of your timer node. Okay, show me this thing. Okay, I want to see this thing. If you can show me, it has to be the same thing as mine. Okay. It's okay. The enemy doesn't matter. It's not going to affect any of this. Don't worry. Okay. Abdul Rifai, how did you connect the timeout? Okay, very good. Basically, I first of all, Abdul Rafa', I need to make sure that the game node has a script. Okay. Once you make sure that, you select your timer and you go to the right. You select the node window. So select it, and after that you will see a signal called timeout. When you double click it, you can connect it to the game node because now it has a script. Okay? So make sure you can do it. Okay, Omar. It looks very good, Omar. Nice, it worked. Maybe she didn't save maybe she didn't save the file. Um, Lily changed the character by downloading it online. Very strange. I don't know why Sarah, your wait. Maybe she didn't save. Um, wait. Sarah. Yes, Abdul Rafa'i. Very good. Make sure you connect it to the Dodge game. But Sarah's issue is that it's not printing for some reason. And I'm not really sure why. Uh, Sarah. Hmm. I'm not sure why. On spawn timer. Hmm. Um, this is a very strange issue. I'm honestly not sure why it's not spawning. Yeah, she did. She connected the signal. Can anyone send a picture of the main code that we did yesterday? Maybe a junk value? No. Uh, it's not related to the enemy. It has nothing to do with the enemy. Someone ChatGPT. No, don't use ChatGPT. Please don't. Hmm. So this is strange. Sarah, auto start. I'm not sure why it's not working. Okay, sir, I'm not sure why your code is not working. We can work on it after the lecture. But right now we have to continue. Okay, I'm not sure why yours is not working. Um, okay. Okay, so right now we configured the timer, right? So now we actually have to start spawning the enemies. But we currently do not have the spawn locations or the spawn positions. So we have to create them. So right now, to in my game, I'm gonna choose game, okay? And I'm gonna add a child to the game. Actually, wait, Sarah, I just realized. What is that? Why did you put pass? You put pass under no, it's not you, right? It's Omar. No, it's Omar. Sorry. Never mind. Okay. So right now we are going to add a child to the game, okay? Make sure you add it to the game and not any other node. The name of this child is going to be something called a path 2D, okay? So we're going to choose path. We're going to choose the node called path 2D. Okay, here it is. And basically, this node, um, as the name implies, basically is going to create a path. It's going to be a path that we're going to be able to spawn the enemies along, okay? So I'm gonna rename it from path 2D to enemy spawner, okay? Because that's basically what's gonna spawn the enemies, right? But I'm not done yet because uh, you can see that when you select any node, but if you select the enemy spawner node, you can notice these new icons, okay? These are exclusive to the notice they're exclusive only to the path 2D because now we're going to configure points. So we're going to configure points so we can draw our path, okay? يعني الحين حنرسم طريق ثنائي الأبعاد آه... طريق ثنائي الأبعاد حنسوي السبون عليه، اوكي؟ حيكون عليه نقاط كثير، فحنا عشوائيا حنختار نقطة عشان نحط عليها الانمي، تمام؟ حنرسم هذا الطريق الحين. So we're going to choose this and then our first point will be here. And then I'm going to move to the right and put another point here. And notice that I'm creating a path, okay? Notice the path is pointing this way, okay? And the third point is going to be here. It doesn't have to be exactly, by the way. And then I'm going to put another point here. And finally, the final point will be in the same place as this point, okay? And you can see here, I basically created a rectangle around the game window. So this is where I will spawn the enemies. I'm sorry, I'm gonna rename it from, or no, it's okay, keep it. It's good. Okay. So we need to make sure we can do this. Okay. So basically, like I said, select the game node and as a child, add the path 2D. Okay. Okay, rename it to enemy spawner or don't, it doesn't matter. And then select this, okay? This will only appear if you have the enemy spawner selected, by the way. And I want you to create these 4 points or 5 points. Okay, so I want to make sure, has everyone been able to create the 4 points? Very important. Okay, very good, Lily. Are we making some sort of tower defense? No, it's not. It's not tower defense. If you remember, we sent a GIF yesterday or a GIF. Yeah, it's top down. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now, Omar, let me see, Omar. Very good, Omar. Exactly. You're doing great. Okay, so now, this is the enemy spawner. So, as a child of the enemy spawner, okay, so not a child of the game, but as a child of the spawner, I'm going to add another node. Notice a node called not path 2D, but its child, a path follow 2D. Okay. Notice they're both kind of together. So just look up path follow. Okay, you're going to see them together. The path 2D and the path follow 2D. Okay, they're usually together, you know? Add a child to the enemy spawner. Yes, exactly. That's what we're going to do. So yeah, notice. So now I have, your tree should look like this. You have the enemy spawner and it has one child, you know, a path follow 2D. And I'm going to rename it to spawn point. Okay. And this is kind of how I'm going to randomly spawn the enemies in a random position. Because notice, because the spawn point is a child of the enemy spawner, I can choose the spawn point and I can go to the progress ratio and notice I can move it along the path. I can literally get it to follow the path. Notice? You need to be able to do this. Okay, so why do I need to do this? So basically, I can just set the spawn point to a random location along this path, and basically, I'm gonna be able to get a random position. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna set the progress ratio to a random number between 0 and 1, and I'm gonna be able to get a random position, like the bot enemy. Yeah, it's gonna be a bot. So everyone, please make sure that as a child of the enemy spawner, you add a path follow 2D. And that's it for now, okay? Don't do anything else, just rename it. So we will write a code of a random number. Yes, exactly, Osama. Yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do. So please, everyone, make sure you can do this. Make sure you can move it like this. Notice how it's moving. This is really important. An inspector, yeah, and the inspector here, and the progress ratio. Okay, very good, Sarah. How are you making it move? And the progress ratio, the spawn point has progress ratio, and I can move it. Okay. Not the enemy spawner, no, it's child, the spawn point. Make sure that the spawn point is a child of the enemy spawner, okay? So please, everyone, make sure you can get this part correctly. It's very important. Okay, very good. Very good, Renad. Okay, is anyone having any problems with getting it to move? You have to make it move, okay? This is very important. We just need to make sure it moves because we're gonna move it through code. So we need to make sure it works in the editor so it can work through code, okay? That's why I want you to move it so we can make sure it's working. I'm sorry, I can barely concentrate today. Yeah, it's okay, don't worry. Okay, so it looks like everyone did it correctly. So right now, I'm gonna show you something. Okay, I don't want you to do this with me. I'm just gonna show you, okay? So don't do anything. Look, as a child of the spawn point, I'm gonna add the enemy as a test, okay? You don't have to do this with me. Notice how when you add it as a child of the spawn point, look what happens. It's kind of on the path. So if you now move the spawn point, no, look, the enemy is also moving. It's moving along the path. So now we can spawn it. Okay? Notice? So now we have a very easy and good way for spawning the enemy. We're just gonna use the position of this thing. We're gonna set the spawn point to a random position, and we're gonna use that position in rotation. Okay, so this is just for demonstration, just so I can explain to you. You do not have to do this. We're gonna do it through code. So now we're gonna go in the code. Right now, instead of printing a message, I'm going to delete this. And what I am going to do is basically, I'm gonna spawn an enemy. Okay, so first of all, I need the file of the enemy. So I'm gonna uh, write a variable, okay, var. Um, I'm sorry, actually, I just remembered. I don't really need to do this. There is an easier way in Godot. Basically, this is the enemy scene, right? That's what I want. Yeah, exactly, drag and drop. But notice, I'm gonna drag it, the enemy scene, okay, not the script. I want the scene. I'm gonna drag it, and before I let go of it, I need to press Control. Okay, very important. And notice, bam, we did it. Um, Now we have access to the file of the enemy. So let's deconstruct this. We have const. Const means that this is a variable that does not really change, okay? It's a constant variable. Well, it's not really a variable, it's a constant. Okay, and this is the name of this constant. It's enemy in all caps because, yeah, again, drag and drop. when you drag and drop, you have to be holding the control key, okay, on your keyboard. Okay, drag the enemy scene. Do you understand? We're gonna have this constant equal to preload. Preload is a function in Godot, and when we use this function, we have to give it the UID of the file, okay? So the UID is like the path of the file, but it's much better because even if you change the location of the file, the UID will stay the same, so you don't have to change it. Just want to say Unity is much better. Okay. So I need to make sure, did everyone manage to drag and drop the enemy scene? Like I said, go to your file system, drag the enemy, drag it, and I want you to press and hold the control key and finally let go. No, Omar. Omar, the code needs to be inside the function, okay? It needs to be inside the function spawn timer. You cannot have code, on the outside. So please put your code inside the function. Like this. Notice I have indentation. You forgot the indentation, Omar. Okay. Yeah. Hala, are you having any problems? Just drag and drop, but press control. Okay, you have to press control before you let go. Um, okay. So right now we have access to the scene file, okay? So now we're actually going to create a copy of the scene, okay? Didn't we say that we can create duplicates of scenes or copies? So we're going to do that. We're going to create a variable. We're going to name it enemy, okay? But enemy is going to be lowercase. Notice this one is all capital, but this one is smaller, okay? So we're going to set it equal to the enemy, the capital enemy, the file. We're going to create a copy of it. So we're going to do dot instantiate. Okay. What does instantiate mean? It means create a copy of this scene file and store it in the what's it called? The variable named enemy. Okay. So make sure everyone can do this. Okay. Please, everyone write this line of code. Very important. Copy of the const. Yeah, you can have it be constant. It doesn't actually no. I don't want it to be constant. I want it to be a var. Okay, but you're gonna see why. I want it to be var because I'm gonna change it. Okay, so finally, now that we have the scene, we have to add it as a child of the game node. So we are used to adding children through the editor, right? We click on this and we just add it, right? Or we add this. But we can also do it inside the code. So I just need to type add child, okay? And basically now I just need to give it the child, which is the enemy. The enemy, the copy I just created, and that's it. Okay? So it is 3 steps. By the way, in Godot, you are going to do this a lot. So please sort of memorize this or understand it. First of all, you're going to get the file itself. You are going to store the file in a constant or variable. And then you are going to create a copy and store it in a variable. And then finally, you are going to add this copy as a child. These 3 steps are essential. So extremely important, okay? Please don't forget. So right now, hypothetically speaking, every 0.5 seconds, an enemy should spawn. So let's see what's going to happen. So as you can see, notice it worked. They are spawning, but they are spawning from the origin point, the point 0, 0. Why? Because we didn't specify position for them. Damn, an army, exactly. an army of enemies. So please make sure that you get this output. It needs to look like this. Oh Lord, this is gonna crash your PC. Yeah, speaking of crashing my PC, thanks for reminding me about this. Because I just remembered something important about it. We're gonna cover it later. Yeah, don't worry. We're gonna deal with that. So please, make sure that this works. Okay? You have to do it. This is the code. I'm gonna close this. Um, please, very important. Yeah, good thing it's lagging. You're gonna see why it's lagging. I have a high-end PC. I'm just worried for y'all. Don't worry. Very good, Omar. Very good. Amazing. Um, yeah, it's gonna lag. You're gonna see how we're gonna prevent it from lagging. ليه العدو ما يسوي الانيميشن عندي؟ اتوقع يا عدنان انت في الانمي انت المفروض تضيف الانيميتد سبرايت صحيح؟ وايضا آه، تضيف الانيميشن، وفي النهايه اهم شيء ان تختار الانيميشن يا عدنان يكون كذا اوتو بلاي او اوتو لود. بيطلع لك هذه العلامه. تمام عدنان، تاكد ان عندك هذه النقاط. I missed the part where we make the enemy spawn. I'm sorry, Yusuf, but it looks like this, okay? We can't go back. You can see the recording, but we don't have enough times. I'm very sorry. Um, okay, so don't worry about the lagging. We're gonna fix it. Right now, um, we spawned the enemies, right? But our issue is that they are spawning here in the origin point, 0, 0, because by default, Godot will spawn them to 0, 0. So, if you remember, right now we said how the spawn point is basically gonna be random, right? We're gonna set the progress ratio to a random number between 0 and 1. And then we're gonna get that position, okay? Okay. So, I'm gonna go back to the game. And after I spawn the enemy, you remember I still have the variable, okay? The variable named enemy, which contains the scene. The copy, I mean. So, I'm just gonna type enemy, and I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not gonna type that yet. I'm really sorry. I forgot something. I want, first of all, uh, right now, what I have to do initially is that I need access to this child, right? The spawn point. I need access to it. So I'm gonna drag it and hold control and let go. Okay, so now I have the spawn point. Okay, this is really important. Like we said, an unready variable basically means that this variable is a node, okay? And var means it's a variable, and this is the name of it. It's called spawn point. And that's the type. You can omit the type, by the way, because Godot can figure out the type on its own. And next, notice here, we have the path to the node path, okay? So the path of this node is enemy spawner and then slash spawn point, because yeah, it's a child of it, remember? تمام وسيم. حمسح. تاخذ السبون بوينت تسحبها وتضغط الكنترول على الكيبورد وخلاص تسيب الماوس وبس. ويمديك تمسح هذه لانها مو ضروريه. تمام. drag spawn point and drop it while holding control. Exactly, Renad. Thank you. Very good. So basically now that I have access to the spawn point, this node, okay, now I have access to this node. Remember this node, right? I have access to control it, not only in the editor, but also in code, okay? So, basically now, I want to set the progress ratio to a random number between 0 and 1. Luckily, I can just, first of all, get it. Okay, spawn point, right, is this variable. So I have access to the spawn point. And I'm going to do spawn point dot progress ratio. Notice, so the variable here, I can also access through code, okay? I'm going to set it equal to a random number between 0 and 1. So lucky for us, Godot already has a built-in function that can generate a random number between 0 and 1. It's called randf. And that's it. So right now, um, basically, uh, every time we spawn an enemy, first of all, we're going to create the enemy scene, right? And then, as of right now, I'm setting the progress ratio, which is this thing, of the spawn point, equal to a random number between 0 and 1. How am I doing that? I'm using this already built-in function called randf. Okay, it's going to give me, every time I spot an enemy, a random position, well, a random number between 0 and 1. And since I'm getting this random number and setting it to the progress ratio, I'm going to get a random position every time. So this is really nice. And finally, our final step is that we want now that I have my random position, now I'm going to go to the enemy. I'm going to set its position, or even better, its transform. So everything about it, right? Enemy.transform. Can I do that? Yeah, it's transform. I think I can do that. Wait. The enemy is transform. Transform, yes. I'm going to have it equal to the spawn points transform. What's that going to do is that it's going to give it not only the same position, but also the same rotation. Okay. Sarah Muhammad, what's the difference between the const and the onReady one? They're very different. Const means that this variable, its value cannot change. It's literally constant, okay? يعني ثابت, ثوابت. And onReady is used for nodes, okay? Specifically for nodes that are like, this one, So we have to add onReady. الراندوم position من المفروض يكون قبل الاستدعاء. إذا قصدك أن نسوي البوزيشن قبل ما ننشئ الأنمي فما يفرق، تمام؟ لأن في النهاية الخطوتين يعتبرون يعني ما لهم دخل ببعض. وأصلا يعني الترتيب مو مرة مهم ترى يمكن تتفاجأ، بس الترتيب ترى في جادوت مو مرة مهم، لأن كل شيء ترى بسرعة مرة كبيرة، بفريم واحد، بشيء أقل من الثانية، فترى ما يفرق مرة. So the enemy is not a node. It is a node. Very good question, but the nodes that we get, from like this, when we drag it, when we get our own children, it has to be onReady, okay? Honestly, I don't want to go into it, and you're gonna see why, because it's a bit complex. لا أقصد مو أول عدو بيكون في 0 0. ما مو ضروري، اوكي؟ لو انت تحب، ما ادري ليه تبغى اول عدو يكون 0 0. لا، ما نبغى اول عدو 0 0. بالعكس، نبغاهم كلهم في مكان عشوائي. فخلينا نجرب اللعبة، تمام؟ نشوف لو اشتغلت. and damn، اشتغل. الحمد لله. Very good. So we're almost done. Can we limit test your PC? No. Now we need to make them kill us. Exactly. That's going to be like the last kind of thing. لا أنا أقصد إذا كان الراندوم بوزيشن، إذا كان قبل الاستدعاء بكون أول عدو. لا، ما بكون أول عدو 0، لأن أصلا أنا متى أغير البوزيشن حق العدو؟ أغيره بعد ما، هنا في الأخير، آخر خطوة. هنا أنا أضفته كابن as a child، بس أنا ما سويت شيء أصلا. يعني أنا ما غيرت البوزيشن، غيرته هنا آخر شيء. عندك نقطة، تمام؟ بس لا، آخر شيء. فهمت يا سلطان؟ too much lag. الحين مضبط اللاج. The enemies flocking like birds. Can you explain what the last line did? The last line is getting the position and rotation of the spawn point and applying it to the enemy's position and rotation, okay? Maybe change the spawn timer. I'm gonna don't worry, we're gonna figure out the lag. Don't worry. By the way, Samir, why don't you put a limit to the random range? I don't have to put a limit because already it already has the correct limit. It's between 0 and 1, exactly like I wanted. Hey, he is saying if you switch the last two lines, then the enemy will spawn in 0, 0 or the default location. If you switch them, it will not even... Hmm. Let's see, actually. I don't think it's gonna change, okay? It's not gonna change. It's gonna be the same. The first time only, maybe. Yeah, only the first time, notice. Only the first time. But after that, it's gonna be normal. Okay, so I prefer to keep it like this. Okay, why is the game laggy, guys? I'm gonna explain to you. So basically, every time we add an enemy and the enemy goes off screen, the enemy does not get deleted from memory. So the game will become laggy over time. Do you understand? It will be in your computer's RAM. So if you keep the game on for 1 hour, your computer will crash. So how do we fix this? We have to make the enemies delete themselves. It's good. Yeah, it's great. It means your PC is great. Basically, we have to do it so that when the enemies leave the screen, we delete them from memory. So we are going to go back to the enemy scene. Okay. Um, and I am going to select the enemy scene, and I'm going to give it a child. So I'm going to choose the child, okay? Um, I'm going to choose a node called the visibility notifier, okay? Visibility. Yes, sorry, it's called visible on-screen notifier 2D, okay? So this is very important. This node, okay, this is its name, okay? I'm going to create it. Okay, this node is actually very useful because this node can tell me when my scene exits the screen. And when it exits the screen, I can do something. For example, I can delete it from memory. So first of all, I have to zoom in. Notice that there is a square now. This is the area, sort of the, like, I am telling the visible on-screen notifier, by the way, when all of this goes off the screen, I want you to delete the node. Okay? So, I'm going to choose this node. After I do this, I'm going to choose the node, and I'm going to go to node. And notice we actually have two signals here, just like how the timer had a signal. Also, this node has signals. We have screen entered and also screen exited. So we are going to use the screen exited. So basically, screen exited is a signal that will be emitted when the entirety of this enemy exits the screen. So after it exits the screen, we are going to delete it from memory. How did you resize it? Resize it like this. Okay. Humera asks, does it need to be bigger than the character? It doesn't. It needs to be about this, about the same size, okay? Don't worry, just make it bigger for simplicity. But it really does not matter. So, okay, we need to understand that this signal, screen exited, will be emitted when the node exits the screen. Amal, very good, but please make it bigger. Doesn't show the points. I'll tell you why it doesn't show the points, Amal, because you have this chosen. When you click on this tool, this is move mode, okay? But also you have the select mode, okay? So you have to choose select mode, Amal. Make sure you choose the select mode. Do you understand? So we have select mode and move mode. So right now, I'm going to choose the screen exited signal and double click on it. Okay, so right now, the signal that's inside, that's going to be emitted from the visible on screen notifier 2D, I will emit it to who? To the enemy scene, to the parent. Okay, so now I will choose connect, okay, and bam, we're done. So basically, every time, also, I'm sorry, I mean when, wait, how did we get that? How do you get that? Basically, choose the visible on-screen notifier 2D. Okay, choose the node, then go to the right. go to the node tab, and you're gonna see these two signals. Choose screen exited, okay, not screen entered. And I want you to double click on screen exited, and finally connect it here to enemy. Okay, you can tap on connect, and that's it. Okay, do you understand? So right here, we can also take another look at the at this function. So yeah, basically the green here means that this function is actually coming from a signal. So basically here we can just look at the sort of chain. So this node right here will emit a signal when when the enemy exits the screen, and anyone connected to this signal will react. So who is connected? The enemy. Okay, the enemy is connected, and every time the enemy exits the screen, this function will run. Okay, so here I did not change anything. I'm just looking. And yes, Lily, we are going to delete this. So we are going to call a function called queue_free. So what is queue_free? Basically, queue_free will delete this node, okay? It will free it from memory. So basically, when the node exits the screen, we do not need it anymore. We will delete it from memory, okay? So now, for anyone experiencing lag, now the game should be less laggy. Okay, guys? It should be less laggy now. So I want you to try it, guys. Okay. It should be less laggy now. Yeah, exactly. We delete the characters. But not characters plural, you know. When one enemy leaves, the one enemy deletes itself, you know. The enemy deletes itself only, you know. It does not delete the other enemies because every enemy is independent. Remember, when one enemy exits the screen, only that enemy gets deleted, okay? So this is very important. You have to understand this. Is there a way to make sure they are deleted? Yes, very good question. Basically, while the game is running, I noticed that the scene tree has a remote tab. If you click on it, you can see the scene tree while the game is running. So notice, you can see all the enemies here. They are getting added and deleted. Do you understand? They have strange names because it's an automatic name. So how do you make sure it worked? Go to the remote tab while the game is running, okay? So while the game is running, you can look at the scene tree. Yes, you can see them getting deleted and added, dynamically. So if you see hundreds of them, that means that you did not delete them correctly. But here I can only see 5 of them, or maybe 10 at most. That means that, like on the screen, there's only maybe 10 of them at most, okay? They are getting deleted right when they exit the screen. So, okay, this is how you make sure it worked. Okay, so now we are almost done, okay? I'm gonna try to finish. We need to make them kill the player. This is very important. So, right now, I am going to go back. I am going to go back to the player scene. I am going to select the player node. And remember how we added the hitbox? So right now we're gonna work with it. So right now, I want you to choose the player node, okay? So because the player node is an area 2D, so basically, this node is good, like I said, for collisions. So basically, I'm gonna choose this node. I'm gonna go to node so I can see all the signals, okay? So choose player. Do not choose the hitbox, choose the player. And then go to node, and you will see a lot of signals. So the first signal is called area entered. And as the name implies, this signal will be emitted when we basically when a collision happens. So when an enemy enters the player's body, this signal will be emitted. Okay? So I will double click on it and I will connect it from the player to itself. Okay? So this is interesting because this signal is getting connected from the player and the player will be listening. Okay? So I know it's a bit confusing, but that's kind of how it works. So now just click on connect and bam, it should appear on the bottom. Okay, so let's revise what we just did. Basically, the player, every time there is a collision, this signal will be emitted, okay? How do I find the signal? Go to the player node. It will be like this. So go to node and then click on area entered and click a double click and connect it to the player, okay? And finally, you should get this function. So this function is interesting because notice the source of the signal is the player, but also the target is also the player. So this is a bit interesting, okay? Now, look, what do we want to happen right now when the enemy enters the player? For now, I will just delete the player, okay? Right now, simply I will delete the player just so we can test it, okay? So just call queue free. Just like how we deleted the enemy, we also can delete the player. So let us test the game. Okay, I want you to also test your game. So basically, now look, when an enemy touches the player, look what happens. Aha, the player is deleted. Okay, yes. So I want to make sure that it worked for everyone. So please, everyone, make sure you managed to do it. Because now we just kind of need to add the game over screen. Very good, Hala. Yeah, we need to add a game over. Yes, all good. Very good. Okay, so of course we don't just want to kill the player. What we want to do is basically we want to display text. I want to display text that says game over. Okay, so basically I'm gonna now go back to the game. Okay, go back to the game scene, and as a child of the game, I'm going to add a child, and it's yes, exactly, very good, Lily. A label. Remember, you're paying attention, of course, very good. The label is a very simple node. It can just display any text, okay? So I'm gonna change the name of the label to game over label, okay? Or game over text. Okay, I'm gonna press enter, and notice that the game over is actually here, but I don't want this. I want it to be centered, you know? So I'm gonna move it right here, and I'm going to add text to it, okay? I'm gonna add game over, okay? And I'm going to center the text. So here we can center it. We can choose the horizontal alignment. We can make it center. But I don't think this is important. You don't need to worry about this. So right now, I just want you to change the yes, how can we use the font? Very good question, Lily. First of all, the way we add font is in the label node, we can go down. I don't remember where it is. So here we can search the properties, okay? So search for font. Okay. So you will see we have under theme overrides, we have fonts. Okay. So do you know how I managed to show this up? In the label node, I want you to search for font. Okay. And you are going to turn on font. Sorry, you have to choose a font first. Yes. I think you can drag it, okay? If you remember here in the fonts, right? We have the font folder. We're going to take this font, we're going to drag it, نسحب زي ما هو, and just drop it here. And yes, very good. Now, look, now the font is different. Do you understand what we did? Let's go over again. After you add the label node, here you can type game over, okay? And go to the filter, look for font, and you will see this. So under theme overrides, you will find these three. Go to fonts, and now just drag the font file, drag it here, and drop it, okay? Okay, I'm gonna send you all the scripts, okay? They should be in the chat. So, okay, and also I want to, and also, other than changing the font, I want to change the size of the font. You can see it here, font sizes. So I can make the font size, for example, 50. And notice what happened. Now it's much bigger. Okay. Dragging and dropping not working. Why is it not working? Okay. You need to drag it and drop it. Make sure you select it. Just drag it and drop it here. Okay. I'm not sure why it's not working for you. If it's not working, look, you can do this. You don't have to, look, you can go here and instead you can do load. Okay, load or quick. Notice what quick load does. Quick load is a very smart function in Godot. It will give you the font file. Okay, it will show all the font files you have automatically, and you can select it. Okay, so if Ibrahim, if dragging and dropping did not work, go here. Very good. Alhamdulillah, it worked. Did I do this right? Yes, amazing. You did it right. Very good. Very good, Renad. So right now, I have a problem. The game over is visible at the start of the game, okay? But I don't want this. I want it to be invisible. So I'm gonna set it to invisible, okay? From here. Okay, I can set it. What I want to happen is that when the player dies, I basically, I can basically show it, okay? I can set it to visible. So right now we have the player node. I wanted to communicate with the parent, okay? Because the parent can control this node, right? It can easily control its child. So right now, I'm going to go inside the player script, okay? And I'm going to create a signal. So far we have used signals a lot, right? But we did not create our own signals. The signals are already in Godot. But right now, we are going to create a signal. So at the very top or anywhere, I want you to write signal. Okay, so we are going to create a signal. We are going to call it game over. Okay. So it's a very simple signal. So we created a signal, game over. And basically, yes, we're going to add a button. And basically, when the player dies, before we delete the player, we are going to wait. We're basically going to emit the signal, okay? يعني بالعربي قبل ما نمسح اللاعب راح نطلق الإشارة اللي هي جيم اوفر عشان الجيم اوفر نود يعرف ان ترى اللاعب مات ويورينا الجيم اوفر ومثلا زي ما اللي قالت يورينا الجيم اوفر ميوزك. So before we delete the player we type the name of the signal تمام game over dot emit. Okay, so we are emitting the signal. Okay, so now I changed two things in the code. I added a signal, I named it game over, and also when the player dies, I will emit it. Okay, and also now we are not done yet. We have to connect the signal, tamam? So we created the signal, but we did not connect it to the game node. So we choose player, okay, we choose the player node from the game, okay? And we go to node. Notice, now under player, we have the game over signal that we defined. So we created a signal. We can see it through the inspector, even though we created it in code. So I am going to click on player twice. And finally, I'm going to connect it to game. Okay, so I'm going to click on connect. And as you can see, now I created a new function. It's called onPlayer game over. So this function will run when the player dies. So basically, when the player is dead, it will emit a signal. And who will be listening? The game. When the player dies, the game is listening and it will execute this function, okay? It will play this function. So right now, what I want to do is basically, I want to make the game over label visible, okay? Because it's at the start of the game, it's invisible. I want to make it visible. So basically, of course, I need access to it first. So I'm gonna take it and drag it and drop it like this and press Control. Okay, I can delete this. So now I have the game over label. Okay, did you see? I dragged it and dropped it. So now, when the player dies, I'm going to go to the game over label and call the show function. Show will basically make it visible, okay? And now let's try it. Let's see if it worked. So now if I die, look, the game over label will be displayed, okay? Okay, so I need to make sure this worked for everyone. We're almost done, okay? We are very close. We are very, very close. Okay? That was fast. Yeah, we're almost done. Wait, I can ask you the code again. Here it is. Basically, we added this, we have access to the label, okay? The game over label. And then we simply show it, okay? How do we fix that the enemy shows on top of the game over? Yes, there is a way to fix that, but right now I have other priorities, okay? Make slow. Honestly, I don't understand you, Ahmed. What do you mean by make slow? I'm sorry, I don't understand you. Okay, so we're almost done. But right now, the essential feature we need to do, I guess move the label up. It's already actually up. It's right now, it's not important. We can fix it later. But what's very important is that we need to add the option for the player to try again. Okay? So basically, I'm gonna choose game again, and I'm gonna add one more child. I'm going to add a button. Okay, so I'm going to type button. You can see there is a lot of buttons in Godot. So basically, I'm gonna choose this button, okay? And right now, it's a child of game. Okay, make sure it's like this. Will we finish? Wait, we're almost done. Okay, we're gonna try to finish. Um, so basically, I'm gonna rename this button. Exactly, Sultan. Very good. I'm gonna name it retry button. Retry. Okay, and basically the text will say try again. Okay, it will be try again. And notice here it is. Here is our button. So I want to move it. I'm going to select it and move it. But right now it looks a bit ugly, don't you think? So right now, again, I'm actually going to control the font. So I'm going to search for, in the button, I'm going to search for font. And you will see, just like the label, we have theme overrides. We have the font and the font size. Okay, so just like we did with the font, we can drag it and drop it. Okay. Or, like we said, we can do this and we can do a quick load. Okay. So notice the font actually changed. And secondly and lastly, I'm going to change the size of the font. Okay. I change it to, I don't know, 40, for example. Yes, very good. So this is very good, I think. So, now, just like we said, I want them both to be, both the game over label and the try again button will be invisible at the start, okay? And when the game when the game over signal is emitted, I want to first show the label and then show the not the label, sorry, the retry button. So I have to get access to it. I have to drag it and then press control and then let go. And finally, retry button dot show. Sorry, dot show. No, not this. Yes, here it is. Where do I write on the button? Basically, I want you to select the button and you can write here in text. Okay, it should appear. So basically, right now, when the player dies, it will first show the label like this, and then it will show the button. But we still have not. Yes, exactly. Now we have to link it to the action. Very good, Renat. Exactly. So right now, as you can expect, the retry button also has a signal. So we click on the retry button and we can go to node. You can see it has 4 signals. It has button down, button up, and pressed. So choose pressed, okay? We don't want button down, no, we want pressed. And we are connecting the pressed signal to the game node, okay? So finally, connected. So here it is. So basically, when the player presses the button, this signal will be emitted. And finally, when the signal is emitted, this function will run. So how do I restart the game? First of all, we do get tree. Okay, get tree. So what is get tree? Get tree will basically get the scene tree. Okay, all of this, and then dot reload current scene. So this is it. This is the final code. So finally now, what's going to happen is that when the player dies, the button will first of all, this will run. Okay, this will run first. The game over label will be showed, and then the button will be showed. And finally, when the player presses the retry button, the game will reload. Okay, so this is the code. Get a tree dot reload current scene. This is how we reload scenes in Godot. It will restart the game. So let me try it now, just so I can see it works. So if I die, yes, amazing, it worked. So if I press on the button using the mouse, yes, and we finished the basic stuff, but we can also add music now, okay? Because there is no music. So right now, if you die, nothing happens, but you can retry again, it will retry. Can I please see the code again? Here you go. I can just paste it on the chat. This function specifically. This is how you reload scenes in Godot. Keep it halal, brother. Okay, it's fine. We don't have to add the music, but we're just gonna teach you how to add it. Cannot call show on a null value. Aha. Ibrahim, can you show me? Can you please show me these variables? I think you made a mistake. Okay. Please show me these variables. You made a mistake with them, Ibrahim. أفضل من ألعاب triple A. Okay, so right now, I'm gonna add a simple sound effect that plays when the player dies. Okay, so once again, yes, just as I expected, I think there is a problem, Ibrahim, with the name of your nodes. Look, the name of the nodes, by the way, needs to match the path. Otherwise, it will break. Okay, so that's why I like to drag and drop basically, so I don't have to type it. So I think Ibrahim made a small mistake. He made a typo, I think, but I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. So right now I want to add a game over sound effect. So after I'm going to select the game node. I'm going to add a child. If you remember, if we write audio, we have the audio stream player, okay? And basically, this node is very special because it can play sound. So we're gonna choose it, and I'm gonna rename it to game over sound. Game over sound. Okay. And basically, it's very easy. It just has a sound file. And basically, all I have to do, uh, what is the game over sound? Here it is, game over.wav. I just have to drag it and finally drop it here. And that's it. Now you can try playing it if you want to hear it. Okay. So, now basically now, just like I did with everything, I'm gonna drag the game over sound and hold control and then let go here. Okay, so now I have game over sound. So basically, when the player dies, after I show the label and the button, I'm gonna go to game over sound dot play, okay? Not game over label, no, game over sound dot play. Okay? So first of all, I took it, I took the sound and I dragged it here. And finally, I simply played the play method, okay? So finally now, you can see that um, when the player dies, now it actually plays the sound effect, okay? So I want, wait, is it a constant? Um, if are you talking about the onReady var thing? Is it like constant? So it won't play by itself from the beginning. Yes, it will not play. Make sure, very good, Sarah. Make sure autoplay is false, okay? We do not want it to play at the start. We want it to play only when we say so. When the player dies, I control when it plays, okay? Yeah, game over sound. Is it a constant? Well, the node itself is not a constant. Uh, the sound itself is a file, okay? I took it from here. It's a .wav. We're not hearing anything. Yes, you cannot hear it on my computer, but on your computer, you will be able to add it. Uh, and and I will now finally teach you how to add music. So you have your game node. I'm going to add another audio. Okay, I'm going to type audio. Here it is on the bottom. Another audio stream player. Okay. I'm going to name this one music. Okay. And basically, just like we did here, we're going to drag this song we have. I'm going to drag it in here. The only difference is that I'm going to set autoplay to true. So what does that mean? It means that right when the game starts, the music will start playing, okay, automatically. Okay. And that's it. And also after, when the player dies, before I play the game over sound, I want the music to stop. So again, I need to drag and drop the music node control. And finally, below here, so before I play the game over sound, I need to stop the music. Music.stop. Do you understand? This is the end game interface. Uh, yeah, we're not gonna change. Yeah, the end of the game, game over. Look, so now we have music. I don't think you can hear it, but you should have music playing. But when you die, the music will basically stop. And um, basically it will just play the game over sound. Everything is starting to make a lot of sense. Okay, I'm really happy. Um, I don't know what I can add now really quickly. Really, the final feature that I would love to add is how to add random enemies. It's actually not too difficult. I think it's easy. Can I lower the volume? Yes, you can. Go to the music. This is how you lower the volume. Okay? From here. Okay, this is how you lower it. Means the game is over. Yes, exactly. When the game is over, the music will stop. Score. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I almost forgot the score. Oh my God. This is an essential feature. Thank you so much, Homero. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I forgot. We need to add the score. I am so sorry, I forgot. Um, I'm so sorry, Humera. I forgot to add the spawn. So yeah, the game was about to be pointless. This is essential. We have to add score. I'm sorry. So basically, go into the game variable, and at the very top, we're going to create a variable named score. Okay. Uh, so basically, it's gonna be an integer. So it's gonna be a whole number. 0, 1, 2. So we're gonna at the start of the game, it will be equal to 0. Okay. It will be equal to 0. And basically, every second, we want the score to increase. So basically, we needed another timer. Don't we have the spawn timer? Um, we also need another timer. So I'm going to create another timer. I'm going to call it score timer. Okay, not spawn timer. No, score timer. This is another timer. Okay. So this timer is the configuration is similar to the spawn timer. It's gonna play every second, and we're gonna auto start it. Okay, so it will start at the beginning of the game. Okay. Okay. So did you do this? So like I said, create a timer. Call it spawn timer. Set it to auto start. That's it. That's the only change. Finally, it has a signal, the timeout signal. So basically, every time a second passes, I basically want the score to increase. Okay. So basically, I'm gonna connect it to game. Okay. So I'm gonna connect it. Here it is. Every time the score timer continue the score timer goes 1 second, I'm gonna go score plus equals 1. So this will basically increment it by 1. Okay, that's it. We're not done yet. We have to display it, of course. So finally, uh, yeah, we have to see it. Exactly. So we're gonna choose game. We're gonna choose a node. We're gonna add a node, a label, okay? Then a label is good for displaying text. So we're gonna choose the label, and we're gonna name it score label, okay? Score label. Um, so basically, I'm just gonna go to the inspector, and the text I will make it 0 at the start of the game. Okay, it will be 0, and I will move it to the middle because it looks really ugly right now. Um, I want to change the font. So uh, look for the font. Uh, I'm sorry, it's 9, but we just need a few more minutes just so we can finish the game. We're almost done. Okay. And the theme overrides. First of all, the font. Like we did before, we're gonna drag the font. We're gonna drag it to here. Okay, so it changed. And finally, the font size, we're gonna set it to, for example, 50. Okay, and finally, just try to center it in the middle so it looks nice. Have it at the top, maybe. You can do whatever. If you want, you can have it at the bottom. It's your choice. It doesn't matter, really. Okay, so we're not done yet. We're almost done. Now we need access to the score label, so we're gonna drag it and drop it here. So first of all, every time we increase the score, the I want to change the label because at the start it will be 0. Okay, so I will set it so that the score label dot text, so the thing being displayed, is gonna equal the score. Okay, but look, it's actually gonna give me an error because it's saying that I cannot add a number, an integer, right? I said that the score is an integer. I cannot add it as, in place of this, right? The text needs to be a string. So I'm just going to cast it. I'm going to wrap it around with string. Okay? And that's it. Okay, yes, we can add that, but we don't need to. So as you can see, uh, right now we finished the game. But look, even when the player is dead, the score is still going. So what do we do? Basically, yeah, it keeps counting, exactly. So basically, when the player dies, finally, we want the score timer to stop. So we need access to the score timer. We're gonna get the score timer right here. So we're gonna make the score timer dot stop. We're gonna make it stop counting. That's it, just stop. So finally, yes, exactly, a stop method, yes, exactly. So now, when the player is dead, it will stop. So you can take a screenshot and maybe show it to your friends and brag about your high score. And yes, this is pretty much it. I really wanted to add the random enemy types. I think it's really fun, and I can actually teach you how to make the yeah, exactly, Omar. If you want to, I can so look, I think right now we're officially done. But if you want to stay over time, okay, we're gonna be done. But if you want to stay over time, we're gonna maybe teach you how to add new features like the new enemy types, random speed. Okay. Uh, okay, so just give me a minute. Sorry, the last line. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, we're all yeah, we can't really continue now. Like I would love to continue. I'm gonna try to continue over time. Um آه ايه احمد وسارة، انا خلاص خلصت، بس يعني انا خلاص نرسل رابط الحضور، آه بحيث ان يعني ان خلاص يعني رسميا خلصنا. بس انا حابب نكمل التسجيل عشان بعطيهم اوفر تايم، يعني بعلمهم كيف يسوون خواص جديدة في اللعبة، لان اليوم اخر يوم يعني حابب نخلص اللعبة وانه خلاص يتسجل بس باقي ما ارسلنا رابط التحضير، فلا احد يطلع بليز. سكور ليبل. Lily, you forgot to add the did you add the score timer above? You have to import the score timer. Remember, you have to drag it. Did you do that? You have to do that. Can you record? Yes, I'm gonna record them, inshallah. I'm gonna try. I really want to record them. I think they're really cool. I'm gonna try. هل كان لكل محاضرة في رابط؟ يس، كل محاضرة ترى كان لها رابط. جميل سارة. Did you send the link؟ لسه رابط التحضير لسه ما وصل يا شباب، بس ثواني. Thank you so much. I want to get dinner. لول. uh, finished my game. Very good مهدي. الله يعطيك العافية، وإن شاء الله نلتقي في ورشات بإذن الله. I love building a new 2D game. Thank you so much for teaching me. You're welcome. I'm very happy that I actually managed to teach you guys. I'm really happy actually. اوكي احمد، هذا احمد، النائب حقنا، ارسل الرابط. ف اوكي، يمديكم الحين تعبون الرابط، ولما تخلصون خلاص في امان الله، ورسميا خلصنا. لكن حنكمل الحين اوفر تايم، يعني بشكل غير رسمي، بس نبغى نضيف بعض الخواص الجديدة للعبة. تمام؟ اللي يبغى يطلع بعد ما يعبي الرابط، اهم شيء. تمام؟ ايه، شكرا احمد. الرابط زي ما قال احمد انه بيقفل ترى بعد نص ساعة. يعني حاول بسرعة اوكي، ما حد يعبيه بكرة مثلا. try again button is not working. اوكي حلا. آم اول شيء حلا did you connect the signal. You have to connect the signal here, button pressed. Like we said, we have to connect it to game. And then finally, you just have to call this function. So did you do this? Yes, we are going to record the overtime إن شاء الله. أنا ما كنت أعرف أن في رابط تحضير لكل محاضرة، إيش أسوي؟ سوري برو، ما ينفع. خلاص، عبي اليوم، عبي حقة اليوم وتوكل على الله. بس لازم عشان تاخذ الشهادة تعبي 2 من أصل 3. أوكي. يعني يعني مسموح لك غياب واحد تقدر تقول. خلاص دان، عبي حق اليوم وتوكل على الله. يمكن بالغلط نعطيك الشهادة. إن شاء الله بنحاول نعطيك، لأن أنت يعني ما شاء الله شفتك تعاونت معانا. أوكي، إن شاء الله بحفظ اسمك، يعني أنا شفتك، يعني أنت من أول الحاضرين، فما عليكي. get re أيوة. حلا. The issue is that the signal is not connected حلا, because there has to be a green icon. So I think now حلا, you need to go to the retry button. Okay. I want you, okay, this is for حلا. I want you to go now to node, and the button pressed signal, this signal, I want you to connect it to the game. Okay. Just like we did with every other signal. Okay. So I want you to try doing that. Um, okay. How can I export the game? Okay, I will teach you how to export. Okay, so this is very nice. Right now, طيب انا حضرت من البداية، بس ده اول رابط. انا اسف، بس لازم كنت تعبوا الروابط. اوكي يعني لازم. اوكي. الحين اللي خلاص حابب يطلع خلاص يطلع بعد ما عبيت الرابط. في امان الله. تمام، ان شاء الله بتجيكم الشهادة. بس الحين بنضيف خواص جديدة على اللعبة. تمام. Okay, so if you want to leave, you can leave after you fill the link. Okay, so right now, I really want to add a very cool feature to the game, which is basically the enemies being random. So I'm gonna hide this. Goodbye, Doctor. But wait, it looks like Omar is having some issues. Vars, Omar, you forgot the colon. Um, wait, Omar, you forgot this. Okay. There is 2 dots here after score. Okay, you forgot them. Okay, Omar, you need to write this. Thank you. It's working. Okay, very good, Hala. If you remember, guys, we basically had, first of all, this animation, remember? But also, if you remember, we have all these other animations. Remember this cute enemy? So basically, there are different types of enemies, okay? You know? So basically, um, I'm going to add different types of enemies, okay? So I'm going to rename it from default. This will be the flying enemy, okay? Because the name of the animation is flying. So I'm going to name this, I'm going to name it fly. Yeah, fly. رابط التحضير والجروب. شكرا سارة. Okay, so I don't know how many of y'all are following, but so just go back to the enemy scene and basically change the name of the animation to fly. And also, I want you to remove the fact that it's an autoplay, okay? Because I'm following. Okay, very good. I'm glad some people are still following. Um, okay, so after you change it to fly, also I want you to turn off autoplay, because before we only had one type, so we just had autoplay. But now I'm actually going to turn off autoplay because I'm going to add even more animations. So I'm going to add a new animation now. I'm going to name it the same as this one. This one is called enemy swimming. Looks like he's swimming, you know? So I'm going to name the animation swim. And I'm going to press enter. And finally, I'm just going to drag the enemy swimming animation like this. and like this. Okay. So as you can see, it's basically another type of enemy. So now we have two types. We have enemy flying and the enemy swimming. So has everyone been able to add a new animation and also add the sprites? So make sure you can do that. Okay. Yeah, great. Very good. النادي هذا بس بالرياض؟ لا لا عادي. في ناس من الأفرع الثانية، بس التقديم بس للأسف في بداية السنة. تمام، أو بداية الترم يمكن. ف okay, so right now you added walk. Amazing. Very good, Sarah. So now we're gonna add another animation, walk, because this one is called enemy walking. So as you can see, this is very easy. So now we have three animations. We have enemy walking, we have enemy swimming, and we have enemy flying. So yeah, we have the three enemy types. So we are done. Okay, we're gonna save this. Now we are going to write some code. So basically, right when the enemy is spawned, I basically want to choose a random animation. So I want this code to run exactly once. Okay, I only want it to run when the enemy is spawned. So basically, Godot has a special function. It's called the ready function. The ready function, here it is. So basically, the ready function takes no input and gives no output. But basically, it's going to run once when the scene is created, only once. Okay, so I'm going to press enter now and make sure that your indentation is correct. So basically, is it like load? Mm, no, I'm not sure which one you mean, from which engine. Load, I'm not sure exactly. So basically, first of all, I want to get Love 2D. I think yes. I see you're familiar with Love 2D. Very cool. That's a really good framework, by the way. It uses Lua. Really good. Yeah. So basically, I want to be able to get the names of all of these animations: fly and swim and basically walk. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a variable. I'm gonna call it names. Okay. Or it's basically the names of the animation, and I'm gonna have that equal to basically now I want to I want to get something from the sprite. So what I'm gonna do is, again, like we did, drag it and drop it while pressing control, because I'm gonna get all the animation names from the animated sprite. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna type the name of it, animated sprite 2D dot sprite frames. Okay, if you remember, so this is the node, right? But inside the node, we had the sprite frames attribute, and this is what actually contains the animations. So we have to do animated sprite dot sprite frames dot animation names, or get animation names. Yes. Let me zoom out. I know it's a bit long. Okay. So right, let me explain to you what I'm doing. Basically, I am, first of all, I have a reference to the animated sprite 2D node, which contains all the animations and all the animation names. And basically, I'm using this reference to look inside the sprite frames. Okay, remember? This is basically the sprite frames. Okay, it contains all the animation names and also all the animations. So basically, I'm calling a function. It's called get animation names, and it will give me a list of all the animation names. So, and before I finish, I have to wrap all of this. I have to wrap this in parentheses. I have to show Godot that this is, by the way, an array. Okay. What is an array? An array is basically a list. Okay. It contains a list of values, a collection of values. Okay. So basically, like I said, I'm getting the names of all the animations, and explicitly casting this as an array. And then I'm storing it in this array. It's called animation names. So everyone make sure you do this. Okay, I'm just gonna copy it for you guys, just in case you guys cannot write it. So here it is. Just in case. Yeah, just in case it's a bit too long. Okay. So right now, basically, this array basically contains the names of the animations. So fly, swim, walk. So now we're basically going to get a random name. Okay. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it random name. Okay. It's going to be equal to names dot pick random. Okay. So what did I do? So basically, this array has a function. It's called pick random. And this function is really helpful because it's going to randomly give me one of the animation names. And I'm going to put it here in random name. So finally, um, I'm going to go to the animated sprite 2D and play the name of this random animation, okay? So I can choose them manually. I can type the name of a specific animation, or I can just put this random name. Okay, it's gonna pick a random name from the array of names. Exactly. Amazing. Yes, that's exactly what it's gonna do. عندي سؤال. شو أكثر بيضل التسجيل متاح؟ ما أدري متى بيضل متاح، أتوقع شهرين، بعد التسجيلات تضل متاحة شهر بعد. ححاول أرفع على اليوتيوب. ما عليكم. حرفع عليكم لما أصلح مشكلة حساب اليوتيوب. في شهادة، أنت بس عبي شو اسمه ذاك الشيء الرابط. طيب. Um, so خلينا let us revise what we did. I am getting, first of all, the animated sprite 2D. I am getting the names of all the animations. So I am getting fly and swim and walk, and I am putting them in an array. So this is an array. It's basically a list. It's a list of values, you know? It's basically a collection of values. Okay, so I store that in names. And then secondly, after this, I will choose a random value from this array randomly. So maybe the animation will be fly, maybe it will be swim, maybe it will be walk. It will be random. So I will store it here. Finally, now I have the name of random animation. So instead of playing the animation name, instead of hard coding it, يعني بدل ما اختار اسم معين وخلاص يكون ثابت، لا. I will put this random name. بحط هذا الاسم العشوائي. Okay. So right now, look what's gonna happen, guys. We basically added new animations. Look, basically new enemy types. Look. So, so now we basically have all of the enemy types. 3 of them to be exact. Okay. Yippee! Please make sure it works for you. Because next we're gonna add something really cool. We're gonna give the enemies random speeds, okay? So, like, to make the game more fun. So make sure it works for you. No, wait, my game is not working. Renad, can you please show me? Are you getting an error? Can you show me the error? They're fast enough. Don't worry. I mean, some of them are gonna be slow, and some of them are gonna be medium, you know? And also, we can even like we can add random rotation. So right now you can see they're all going straight, and maybe we can add a random rotation. Yeah, so we can improve the game in many ways, basically. I think it's really, really fun. So we need to make sure that first of all that this issue has been resolved. Okay, Renad. Um, so Renad, you cannot run your code if you have an error in your code. You have to show me your code, please. Show me the red. My enemies are not showing. Renat, you did not miss a step. You have a. The score should be faster. Um. Okay, wait. Sarah, why are your enemies not showing? I think maybe. Did you add these frames? Did you make sure it's not hidden? This is for Sarah. Uh, I'm guessing maybe you have a mistake. Wait, maybe you have a mistake here. So I'm just gonna send this entire function basically. Actually, wait, I'm gonna send you the entire script. This is the enemy script basically. Yeah, this is the code for the enemy, by the way, just in case. Um, wait. Okay, Renad. Names, array, sprite. No, Renad, you forgot to do something. You're supposed to do monster dot sprite frames, okay? You cannot do sprite frames right away because the sprite frames is basically contained inside your monster node. Do you understand? So do the same. So do monster dot sprite frames, okay? So Sarah, what's the problem with Sarah? You can skip the file, var name, sprite, var random name. This is, no, I'm sorry, Sarah, this code, wait, oh no, it's fine, never mind that. Um, okay, Sarah, I want you to show me the scene of the enemy. Show me specifically, like, your animated sprite. Show me all of this. Adnan, let's see Adnan's issue. Var names. Adnan, the issue is that in the first line, you named the variable names, but then you forgot the S. You said name.pickRandom. You have to add an S. You have a typo, Adnan. Uh, it's you copy the code, make sure it matches the names. Yeah, exactly. Okay. As you said, you have to peek inside it. Exactly, peek inside it. Um, so I'm looking at Sarah's code, and honestly, I'm not sure why her enemy is for some reason not visible. This is confusing. Um, so like, what do you see? Like, are all the enemies like invisible? Maybe you forgot to add the separate animations. So this is your fly animation. Can you show me the swim and walk? Maybe you forgot to add them, and that's why it's not. She has the enabler. No, no, she doesn't have the enabler. Should I autoplay it? No, don't autoplay it. Make sure you have the swim and walk. Okay. No, she doesn't have the enabler. Where? She has the loop. Uh, well, we all have that. You mean this one? Oh my God. Oh yes, this is such a wait, what? Um, I think yeah, this is such a very smart, Lily. Yes, we have visible on screen notifier. Right? It's a different node. Okay. Very good catch. Very good catch, Lily. Very smart. You managed to see it very fast. Yeah, basically, Sarah, right click on this node because you picked the wrong type and change the type. It has to be this one, visible on screen notifier 2D. Okay, yeah, we have the notifier, not the enabler. So basically, what's happening with Sarah is that it's actually deleting her enemy right when it gets spawned. You know, it's like the opposite of what we want. Yes, Lily, very good, actually amazing. You managed to like catch it right away. So honestly, I probably would not have figured this out. This is why like you need to be slow when like debugging. So yeah, Sarah, just change the type of your node. Um, so other than animations, I think what about adding a title screen? Oh yes, we could totally add that. But first, I actually want to add. Maybe I'll give it to you as like homework. Like maybe you yourself can add like a title screen. I want right now we're gonna add a random speed to the enemies. Okay. So in the enemy script, basically the speed by default is 200. Okay. But we could set it so that it's not 200. Instead, it's rand I range. So I'm gonna call this function, not randf, no, randf is between 0 and 1. But we have this function called randi range. Randi means random integer. So basically, this function is gonna give me an integer between this and between that. So no less than from, and also no more than 2. So for example, between 100 and 200. Okay, yes, we're gonna cap it. So the speed of the enemy is not 200. No, it's now different. It might be 150, 148, 169. So now when we play the game, every enemy will actually have a random speed. Notice that they actually have different speeds now. Okay. But you can make it even more crazy. Maybe you can do like between 10 and like between 300. It's up to you. Okay? It's up to you, really. Players overwhelmed now. If you want less enemies, on the screen, basically just the spawn timer, increase the time. So instead of every half a second, make it every 1 second or every 2 seconds. You yourself should balance it, really. I think it's easy. Uh, Next, I want to add something really fun, which is basically every time we spawn an enemy, um, after everything, I want to add a random rotation to it, because if you look, the enemies in my game are walking straight. Okay, I'm gonna give them a bit of offset, a bit of angle, a bit of rotation. So I'm gonna go to the enemy, and I'm gonna rotate the enemy, right? I can do that, right? Or rotation, rotation degrees. Um, Wait. Rotation degrees. I'm gonna increase the enemy's rotation by a random number from -45 all the way to +45. So basically, position rotate. Basically now, every time I spawn an enemy, it's gonna be a bit turned, either to the left or to the right. You're gonna see it now. I hope it works. Notice now, great. So now, look, they are like turning, Now it's more like random. So as you can see, I'm basically, every time I make an enemy, I'm generating a random angle. So, 90 degrees, between -45. I hope it works. It's so real. So as you can see now the game is even more fun and dynamic. And I'm gonna make this even more crazy. Every time I spawn an enemy, actually, it would be better if I did this in the enemy script. In the enemy script, when the game starts, I'm going to give the enemy a random scale between randf range, so a random floating point number. Yeah, we can make them faster as time goes by, but that's a bit more complex. But basically, I can make it so that, remember, the scale itself, um, by default, the scale of the enemies is 1, right? So we can set it so that it's between, for example, 0.5 and, oh, I don't know, 2.0, for example. I'm gonna multiply it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna multiply it. Yeah, because I'm gonna multiply 1 by this, You're gonna change the, yeah. So randomly, so every enemy is gonna have a random size or scale. Yeah, like the no network game. Maybe. Bad memories. So basically, every enemy is going to have its scale multiplied by a random number here. So notice now that basically, notice the enemies are actually different. They're almost different sizes, right? But I can't really see it that closely. Wait, did it work? Um, I think the problem is that I just realized this code doesn't need to be here because uh, every time we spawn an enemy, we kind of set the transform of the enemy the same as the spawn point. And the spawn point also has the same scale. So we have to add it after here. So we have to do enemy.scale, enemy.scale. Now it should work. So the code needs to be here, okay? Because we're overriding it basically. Exactly, now it works. Look at this. So now they're like all different sizes. This is crazy though, right? Like they're way too big. So you can just play around. So maybe between 0.5 and like 1.5 maybe. You can pretty much do whatever you want. That's the hard game. I'd crash it. Look, it's your game. You can do whatever you want. And yeah, I'm basically gonna send you all the source code. So I think that's it for now. I think we're all kind of got tired. Um, so does anyone have any question or issues? And then after we're done, export it. Amazing. Thank you. So now we're done, right? Go to the project. I'm glad you enjoyed the explanation. Go to project. Uh, Go to export. Okay, now we're gonna actually export the game. So now you're gonna add something called a preset. So what's a preset? Basically, every sort of operating system has a preset. So you can export to Android, iOS, Linux, Mac OS, the web. So I can run it on a website. But we're gonna do Windows for now. If you're on Mac, do Mac or Linux or whatever. Windows. Um, Now it's complaining that I don't have the export template. Um, Basically, this is something you have to download. But I already have it. But basically, you guys are going to have to download the templates. So it's going to take a while for me. But basically, do download and install. Yeah, from best available mirror. Can we do it the same way you did on our website? No, it's a bit complex right now. I'll send you all videos. When you shared it, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I'm gonna send you a video. But right now, basically, just download the templates, and I already have them. This one works, man. Um, Damn. Honestly, I guess I'll have to download it. Yeah, you're gonna have to download it. It's probably gonna take a while. So yeah, you're gonna have to download the It's like 1 GB, which is like funny because it's bigger than the engine. I guess we are downloading a runtime after all, so yeah, I guess we can just record videos of our games for now. Yeah, I'm teaching you how to export it on like basically what's it called? Windows. Sorry, how I export. We're still learning. So basically go to project and then go to export. Then it's gonna prompt you to download the templates. The templates are like I don't know, it's like the runtime you need. Because like if you export to Windows, there needs to be kind of like a runtime for Windows or something. Yeah. So that's kind of why I'm nervous because it's a bit slow. It should be done. Should take a couple of minutes. Anyway, did anyone have any bugs with the game so far? Since it's fixing, if anyone's kind of had a bit of a stack overflow or whatever. From where do I download the templates? Look, the templates, they are downloading on their own, okay? The best available mirror, okay? You're gonna get a button. It's gonna say download from best available mirror, and that's it. How do I put the enemies behind the game over? This is evil. Why would you even do this? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I meant you're like gonna like hide them. Oh, just this. Okay. I thought you were gonna put them behind the background. Um, I just need to do something called the Z index. What I should do. Okay, Hala. Uh, you have to add a preset. So go to add on the upper left corner. Yeah, go to add. Okay, Lily, I will teach you. Oh, okay, nice. Oh, no, oh, nice. The engine crashed. Uh, this tends to happen sometimes. I guess I couldn't handle 1 GB. Okay, Humera. Uh, yeah, you have to download them. Why are you running it in offline mode? So you need to go online, okay, Humera? Go online, okay? Uh, go online right now, and then just download it from the best mirror. I have a good piece. It's like decent. So okay. So now that the template has been downloaded, go to project. Thank you. It's still crashing. What? Oh wait, there it is. The window is still here. Wait, did it delete? No way. Hell no, I'm not downloading that again. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. Okay, it didn't delete. Yeah, go online for Homera. Uh, okay, basically, you're gonna name the game, I don't know, Dodge the Creeps or something, because that's actually what it's called officially. Um, and basically, I just need you to click on this one, embed pack. This is the only important thing you need. Okay. Um, Finally, okay, so you name it and just embed the pack. And finally, just export the project. And it's gonna ask you to export it with debug. No, I don't want the debug. Then you can like export it like on your desktop or something. And yeah, that's it. And now it's done, yeah, right? So now finally, if I go to my desktop, here it is. Now it should work. There it is. My Godot game, it worked. So this is really great. Now you can send them to your friends and brag about how you know how to make games and stuff. It's basically it's a .exe, so you can just run it. So yeah, basically, how do you export your game? Click on project, click on export. Okay, you're gonna be missing the template. So first you're gonna click on add. You're gonna try to add the Windows one, yeah. And no export. And yeah, just like you see with Hala right now, it's missing the export templates. So you have to manage the export templates, so you can download it. You have to download them, from the, yeah, just like Sarah. Yeah, very good, Sarah. Yes, just download and install. So you have to do, thanks, Samir. We really appreciate your efforts. Yes, I'm really glad you guys are actually enjoying this. And yeah, this is pretty much it. I think you guys are very tired. I think we all deserve a break. So I'm just gonna finish the recording now. Um, please make